President Trump is promising an orderly transition a day after his supporters violently stormed the U.S. Capitol. The FBI is asking for help finding those behind Wednesday's assault at the Capitol. The agency set up a website for people to upload photos and videos of rioters who smashed their way into the building. Congress was in the process of confirming President-elect Joe Biden's Electoral College win at the time of the riot. Lawmakers took cover anywhere they could.
The government did this to us. We were normal, good, law-abiding citizens, and you guys did this to us. They don't get to steal it from us.
4 people died, including one woman who was shot by Capitol Police. Washington's mayor has extended a public emergency order through Inauguration Day because of concerns of more violence. Facebook is blocking President Trump from posting to his account, at least for the remainder of his term. This includes Instagram, too. Twitter also locked the president's account yesterday, but it will be unlocked as long as he follows Twitter's rules.
In calling for this seditious act, the president has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation and our people. I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the vice president to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is demanding President Trump be removed from office following the riots at the U.S. Capitol. There are just 13 days remaining in the Trump administration. Sources tell CBS News the president, for his part, is clueless about how outraged Americans were as they watched the violence unfold. Ben Tracy is at the White House.
You have to go home now. We have to have peace.
Nearly 3 hours after his supporters stormed the Capitol, President Trump finally released a 1-minute-long video telling them to go home, but also making it clear how he really feels about the violent mob.
We love you. You're very special.
He then justified their actions, saying these things happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away.
I call on President Trump to go on national television now.
As hours of chaos passed without President Trump speaking, President-elect Biden called on him to be a leader.
At their best, the words of a president can inspire. At their worst, they can incite.
All 4 living former presidents expressed their outrage. George W. Bush called the attack on the Capitol insurrection, saying in a statement, "I am appalled by the reckless behavior of some political leaders since the election. This is how election results are disputed in a banana republic, not our democratic republic." President Trump's former defense secretary, General James Mattis, directly blamed him for the violence, predicting Mr. Trump will deservedly be left a man without a country. The president is also now completely at odds with Vice President Pence,
Madam Speaker and members of Congress,
attacking him for following the Constitution and refusing to try to overturn the election.
Several White House aides have resigned overnight, including the president's Deputy National Security Advisor, Matt Pottinger, and the First Lady's Chief of Staff and former White House Press Secretary, Stephanie Grisham.